Do you think that affiliate marketing is a business actually?
It is a business for sure.
You have experimented with Facebook.
Yep.
Did it work well for you?
It's like the smallest issue that nobody made a mistake and then your account is suspended for like weeks.
You worked as a head of business operations for the STM forum. The biggest amount of money you have generated within a month with affiliate marketing.
It's supposed to be around like $100,000.
How wtaff was invested?
We had enough to start this.
Our friends from Binom tracker decided to provide us 1 year subscription as a prize for
It's quite
free.
a nice prize.
Hi peeps, I came to Vienna to visit in person a guy that I have known from his posts and talks for a long time. His name is Emanuel Cinca, a serial entrepreneur. He has started his journey in 2015 and has been a regular speaker on affiliate conferences ever since. A top affiliate in the past, an affiliate marketing expert in the present. He also worked as a head of business operations for the STM forum. And today, we are going to talk about traffic of all kinds, email marketing and online business in general. And I will try to understand what are the keys to success in the world of affiliate marketing. But before we start, make sure that you have already subscribed to the channel. If you're not, it's very right time to do so. It takes no longer than 10 seconds. Stay updated, stay informed with ZorbasMedia. And now, let's get started.
Binom, super powerful tracking platform. Only $99 a month, unlimited. Built by top affiliates for affiliates. Support team helps you with everything from your very first setup. Join now and get first month for free and 40% discount. Link in the description.
Should be somewhere here. Yep. Yep. Should be the right one. Was not that easy to find. Hey. Should be here.
Hello.
Hey, Manuel.
How's it going? Welcome.
Okay, Manuel, first things first, let's talk affiliate marketing now.
All right.
It's common advice to approach affiliate marketing as a business from your very first steps. Do you think that affiliate marketing is a business actually?
Well, I mean, it is a business for sure, but it really depends how you approach it. That's why it says approaching it as a business, because people refer then, if you approach it as a business, you want something that's sustainable for the long term, so that can always generate you a cash flow. The issue is when you do like the one-hit wonder campaign thing, and then you don't think, you just, I don't know, someone told you about the campaign, gave you a tip and that works, but you don't really understand the underlying things of how to run traffic profitably, then you don't really have a business. So that's, I think, when people say treat it as a business, it's like learn the underlying parts of running traffic and what makes an offer good and what makes your traffic good for the offer so they can monetize whatever traffic you send.
Why push traffic is the biggest trend in 2019? That is simplest way to start. Big budget is not required. Works for mostly all kind of offers. Mega push. Traffic source with small prices and large volumes. With minimum deposit of only $100. Bonus 15%. Link in the description.
As far as I know, you don't run any campaigns now. You fully transition into media business.
Yeah, that's true.
Why didn't you leave some people working for you and running campaigns for you? Let me put it this way. Do you think that it's possible to turn affiliate marketing activity into stable, autonomously running business?
It really depends on finding the right people, because I think that's that's the really most difficult thing. Because what I've noticed, at least from my perspective, affiliates are really like problem solvers. They really focus on figuring out why does this thing not work, why is the traffic not as cheap as it could be, or why is the offer not backing out, testing more offers, how do you figure out which one works best, is kind of like the very minute details of that. And then finding people who would be willing to do that just for, like, if they're good at that, most people would end up doing it for themselves. So the more difficult it gets to, the more affiliate marketing changes, the more you need people that are problem solvers. And then those problem solvers are in high demand, right? So there's always how much can you reward those problem solvers for them to stay with you. So it's like, I think it's very difficult unless you're already quite big and you have, like we said at the beginning, like you have a business behind it. As if you don't have something that a problem solver cannot just get by themselves, I don't think you can keep them on your team. And there's plenty of stories around there where people, like, they started affiliate marketing under the guidance of whoever, right? And then at some point they just went on their own because they figured out enough, they saved enough money.
Kind of common.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, I think, in most businesses, but not in all of them. The thing with affiliate marketing, from my perspective right now, is that it changes so fast so much so fast that you don't have the time to set up a full process for everything. Like, you have to always have a problem solver on the team. So you cannot be completely hands-off. You have to be the problem solver that teaches the rest of the team.
You mentioned that affiliate marketing changes quite dynamically, let's say. And you have started in 2015. What has not been changed since?
So what stayed the same?
Yeah.
There's not so much that stayed the same looking at it now, to be honest. I think, yeah, so up until, if you would have asked me like 6 months ago or so, I would have said that probably pop traffic is still a good way to start, or like a decent way to start, because it's still very quick to get into. But nowadays it's probably not that good. Like, it just got worse and worse, and I think we're past the point where it's the best way.
What is the best way to start now, in your opinion?
I would just say push traffic, because it's very similar to pop. So then you would get some quick results for a decent price, learn how to run traffic, and then look into other ways of doing media buying, because the push traffic is not so much different in terms of compliance, so much different to pops, and then it's going to be only a matter of time till it faces the same issues. Yeah, there's not so much that stayed the same. If you think about it, over the past 3 years, there's been more rules from all big companies, whether it's Google, Apple, Facebook. So compliance rules changed completely. There's been changes in the best traffic sources, and even in the best traffic source is probably not the same one that was 3 years ago. Yeah, and even on the offer side of things, there's no more, like when it comes to mobile content and rebuilds and stuff like that has changed. GDPR for lead gen changed quite a bit. Like, it's really hard to think of even one thing that stayed exactly the same. Of course, you can always say that the fundamental of media buying traffic for a cheaper price than you get for the conversions, that stayed the same. So you still have to look on the same side of things. But
do you think that is getting more and more difficult to make it work in?
So I think it's more difficult to make it work with one touch, like direct response. That's what I've noticed for sure. Like, it's way more about getting the customer interested in whatever you have to offer first, but not necessarily converting them at the first touch point. So remarketing gets more important, whether it's on Facebook or on other sources. Remarketing on any source is more important than it was before. And then the other thing, actually starting with push, it's way more important to be able to reach an audience for free, because the price of traffic gets higher. So the more you can reach people for free after you paid one time, the better it is. And a lot of people who are successful in push notification traffic, they actually don't buy directly from push networks. They started building their own push subscribers. That's the secret there. That's why some people can make push work really well and some can't, because they're just buying directly. So
what are major trends in affiliate marketing you see now in 2019?
I see definitely push traffic being the one where people get into more. So that's the number one trend. And the other trend is probably on the side of people who used to run Facebook, probably exploring more Snapchat, at least in the first few, like first month of the year, that's kind of what I've seen, both from news around the world, catching ads that look very familiar to the Facebook ones, you know, mainstream media, like, oh, fake celebrity endorsements and stuff like that. And then, yeah, so I see those two being the biggest trends. Then in terms of offers, I still think e-commerce offers will find a more, like a solidified space in terms of being affiliate offers. Because so far, when you think of e-commerce, you think doing drop shipping perhaps, so building your own e-commerce store. But I think affiliate marketing for physical products will get more and more popular, not just for neutral products.
You have experimented with Facebook.
Yep, quite a bit.
Did it work well for you?
Not as well as I would have wanted it to. So we tried 2 things with Facebook. One was dropshipping, and then, yeah, you can, since you control the product quite a bit, then you can get your ads to be okay. Like you can get some certain ROI, but the thing with dropshipping is you make most of their money on the back end. So when you do upsells and lifetime customer value, those sort of things. So that's like a very long process in between. So that was that was part 1 of trying Facebook. And that was one part that I saw, okay, I don't want to deal with customer support. To make it short,
no one really likes,
yeah, so you really have to be passionate about it, or have some sort of vision where you want to be this big e-commerce brand.
Or probably outsource it.
Yeah, and finding the right way to outsource. Yeah,
I still, see here a space for new service to come up.
Yeah, the only thing is
because affiliates don't like to deal with customers. That's kind of the nature of affiliate marketing.
Yeah, so that was one part. Then we also tried the e-commerce offers directly, so just we got paid per sale, and that was more promising. But then it kind of just changed. Look, so we're running affiliate campaigns only. There's a few things that happened at the beginning of 2018, so about a year ago, and that was like, okay, yeah, it shows promise. I could go even more into this, but then I kind of want to have my own product in some way. And then what's the situation like? And then weighing the options of that. Because financially, it doesn't make sense to have an own, like in the first few months, an own product is pretty difficult to make more money than affiliate campaigns. So.
But did you manage to make it profitable?
Yeah. So it was slightly profitable, or slightly like enough profitable enough to be like, okay, it's something that it can keep us going still. And it shows potential. Like if we figure out this part, the remarketing, all these sort of things, it can work out to be like, okay, enough money to be a real business, you would say.
What were your main difficulties?
I think the main difficulties was transitioning from the affiliate mindset of one touch sale and that's it, to this whole funnel approach where you can get more out of the customer, or you can reach the customer again if they showed potential. So like remarketing being the main thing. I think wrapping your head around that, if you're just an affiliate, is not super easy at the beginning. But yeah, and also depending on what sort of affiliate you are, some people are very creative and then they don't struggle with this. But if some people are very analytical, when you switch to Facebook, being creative matters way more than being analytical, I think. So then switching your mindset into creating good ads, like catchy viral ads, it can be very difficult, close to impossible for some, right? If you're very number oriented, then you cannot really come up with all these sort of viral campaigns.
And did you have any troubles with accounts, with Facebook accounts?
No. So luckily, I mean, we wanted to do white hat only, and we managed to do that. Only one issue came up, but that was not for compliance. That was just like bank misunderstanding. Yeah, and in the end, it all worked out, but it took like 2 weeks of getting 5 or 6 automated replies from their bots, and then reaching out to a real person through a friend that worked. So someone in the Dublin
Facebook
office, yeah.
All right.
Someone who was like campaign manager for big brands, just to like guide me towards the right direction. And then doing live chat was the thing that solved it. So there's an option in Facebook sometimes, I don't even know when, to have like a live chat support.
Yeah.
And that's all that in 20 minutes.
It's horrible to deal with Facebook support team.
But the live chat thing went pretty straightforward. I explained it, and in 20 minutes, everything was solved. But yeah, it's like the smallest issue that nobody made a mistake, and then your account is suspended for like weeks. So yeah, it's even if you do everything legit, it can happen. So the thing that happened over the past few months with Facebook is, you can think of it like they always have a margin of error, right? In how they automatically detect any sort of whether you're compliant or not. And that means some things will slip through even if they're not compliant. And in order to make less things slip through and be more aggressive on catching anything that's non-compliant, there's going to be more false positives, because everything that looks like it could be, they just like cut it off. So that's been happening for the past like 6 to 9 months probably now, I think.
Do you think that Facebook is a good move in 2019?
If you want to do it legitimately, I think it's still okay. But if you want to do the whole churn and burn game, I think it's a pretty bad idea, because they're getting better, offers are getting worse. Like everything points towards Facebook not really playing around anymore. So there used to be that, I never experienced it myself, but there used to be this like anecdotal evidence that whenever Facebook it was looking like a bad quarter for Facebook, they just let affiliates run more, kind of thing, to get their revenue numbers up. I'm not sure if it's true, but now it's like the opposite, like no, nothing, because there's always bad news. Like Mark is going to have to come up in front of European Parliament and the US Congress again if something happens.
How long have you lived in Vienna?
Well, it's almost going to be 6 years. I'm not sure when the interview comes out, but on 1st of February this year would be 6 years now.
And why Vienna? Tell me why. You are first affiliate I've known who lives in Vienna.
It's mostly by chance. So I wanted to move abroad like 6 years ago approximately. So 2013 was the year when I said, yeah, I definitely want to move abroad, move out of Romania. And just so happens that I met someone in Vienna. I met from when I used to play poker. And he's like, hey, I want to start a business in Vienna. Would you like to join?
All right.
And I was like, 2 weeks afterwards, I just moved here.
So you went here to set up a business?
Yeah, exactly. So there was nothing planned as in, oh, I like Vienna, that's the city I want to go to. I haven't been abroad so much till then. So Vienna just happened to be a place that I could move to. And then since then I enjoyed it. I thought about moving away a few times if it makes sense, but I never found a place that I like more for now. So.
But after those 6 years, can you say that you like it in the end?
Yeah, I definitely like it. Like I said, I would have had chances to move somewhere else if I really wanted to. But I never found a place that's more balanced in terms of you can get your peace and quiet, but it's still it's big enough that there's activities that you can do. There's enough people, well located, like geographically and everything. So I'm gonna be here for a bit more at least, maybe forever. I don't know.
Is your company registered in Vienna as well?
Yeah, it's registered in Austria.
So Austria is kind of is that business-friendly country?
It really depends. So. In terms of when it comes to taxes and all these sort of things, it's not really that friendly. Like it's good on the corporate tax side of things from what I would compare to the other countries. But on the income side tax of things, that's a little bit different. That's quite a bit less friendly than if you, I don't know, go Hong Kong or Cyprus or whatever like that. And the one thing is they're trying to have very clear rules and stuff. But there's still quite a bit of bureaucracy here and there when it comes to managing a company. But the good thing is that I don't have to do that. So my business partner handles all that. So that's all good on my side. For me, it's easy, but for others, it's not.
And in terms of cost of living, is that expensive city?
I think for what you get, it's affordable. I wouldn't say it's cheap, because cheap is if you go more towards, like, I'm from Romania, so like Romania is definitely on the cheaper side of things, but Vienna I would say is very affordable, because you get quality that you can probably get in cities like Paris, London, Munich,
but still cheaper.
But then it's just like half the price or something like that, maybe even less than that.
And as for renting, is it expensive to rent an apartment here? What is the average, like how much do you pay for your apartment?
It's one bedroom, so one bedroom plus like a kitchen living room thing. You would probably pay like 700 euros towards 800, including a lot of the utilities, if not all of them, like across the year. So
it's good. It's
not too expensive, but not cheap.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your STM thing. You worked as a head of business operations for the STM forum. What were your main responsibilities? What was your area of expertise there?
Sure. So like the main thing, this was during 2017, the whole year, the main thing was managing the team internally mostly. So when it comes to kind of what sort of content we want to create, how, like when we attend conferences like the Affiliate World conferences, like what are our plans for there, and also kind of managing the relationship with from this team that decides on the content side, and how like the affiliate, that people that know affiliate marketing, with the team in Manila that is just very focused on like either coding or data analysis, those sort of things, like the back office, you can call it, where people don't really know about affiliate marketing, they just know they're part of the job. So adding new features, changing landing pages, stuff like that. So it was overall internal operations management, essentially.
Did you work in their office, or was it a remote position?
No, it was a remote position. So I worked from Vienna, although I did visit the office in Manila there, where a lot of the team is. So even like, I'm a fan of remote or distributed work. I think it can work out, but it's still very useful, at least for some time or for a little bit, to meet the other people in person, have a few meetings with them, and just get to know each other a bit better. And then you can know, because the thing is, in online conversations, some of the communication gets lost, right? The visual cues get lost very often, even if you do video calls. So it's kind of useful to get a feeling for what people mean when they say something, and how sensitive they are to certain criticism, how easily they take feedback, and how easily they give feedback as well, like how open they are to this two-way communication. So
how does STM Forum profit besides paying membership?
I don't think there's anything else now, like the STM Forum side of things. Of course, maybe people who are less familiar with it, the STM Forum was where Affiliate World conferences started as well. So past STM meetups, they started getting bigger, they started getting speakers, and then they turned into a conference. So the STM Forum itself, it's all based on subscription model. So subscribers from forum members.
Perhaps referral programs with other networks or traffic sources.
So there is an affiliate program for STM Forum that only some people can join. So it's actually making sure that it's not sending bot traffic or anything like that. But no, there's no other business within, like that's the only business of STM Forum itself, subscriptions. So.
And why did you decide to quit that job?
Yeah, so early 2018, it was also when, we have these Facebook campaigns. I'm also the head of business operations of STM Forum. But do I really want to continue doing this? Like, what's my overall goal? Like, after being 2.5 years or so in the space, or however it was. And I just felt that was the right timing to just start something new that is 100% an own product, where like I can control the whole funnel, if you can call it that. So that was the main motivator, just doing something where I have full control, and something where that's mine, that excites me again.
So you didn't want to work with someone firstly, and on the other hand,
so
you didn't want to run campaign as well and turn it to more.
You're either kind of a consultant / mercenary sort of person if you're running campaigns. You're just jumping to where you get the most profit, which is fine. Like if you really like that lifestyle, nothing against it. And then working for someone, like it's super for STM Forum specifically, like it's super flexible, can work whenever, wherever. It's all about just focusing on what you have to do. But at the same time, it's not like I usually say maybe it's a bit exaggerated, but it's not like I can just go crazy and do whatever I want with it, right? It's an older product that has a certain reputation, a certain position in the market, and you cannot just change it completely without really thinking about it. So I'm much more about like testing things and playing around and making something work. It was not a process where I felt like I can do that. Like it didn't feel like I have the complete freedom to change stuff around, and it doesn't make sense to do it, right? It's an established business. I enjoyed the building part of a business way more. So I was like, okay, let's build something new.
But you have already had some like startup businesses before. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience? What did you do?
Okay, so...
And how did it go?
Well, some things looked good, and then some went pretty bad. So I moved to Vienna specifically to start a business, software development company. And within that company, actually ended up having an own product, which was, funny enough, an ad network. But that then never worked out because we were like a couple of young guys, not really knowing the ad industry. We're just like, okay, the way these ads work, they don't make sense.
How did you come to do that?
So my business partner, he just had the idea. And then, so he had the idea and also the technical knowledge of how to implement it. So we just went with that idea to implement it. But again, he also didn't know about the ad industry like I know it now, for example, like what matters, what doesn't matter, how do you get your foot in the door. So what actually happened was we spent a lot of time building a lot of tools and features of this product and this ad network, like how to create your ads, reporting, all these sort of things.
What kind of traffic you were going to sell?
So it was supposed to be mobile native traffic and a new sort of ad format, which is specifically for, there's always, when you have apps and mostly games, there's these loading screens. So creating ads specifically for loading screens, that's still like you can put in your loading bar and stuff, but have an ad instead of your own loading screen.
So you came up with your own format.
Yeah, so that was the idea. But then it was so hard to implement it without having a foot in the door in the industry that we never ended up running traffic to it. The other thing that did work, like the software development side of things, that worked out pretty all right. At some point we were doing only software development for lab equipment. It started promising and it actually went pretty okay and it was still growing. But that's the point where we transitioned to affiliate marketing because myself and one of our a business partner, he was just feeling too burned out, wanted to do some other things, and he was the main technical person in the team. So then the decision was, well, can we continue this without you right now? Like, it's growing, we need to hire, but we cannot hire a replacement immediately. So if you just want to...
So that's how you started affiliate marketing.
Yeah, so then it was like, okay, what other options are there? Okay, affiliate marketing looks like a good one. Let's spend some time on that. And so those are the two main startups failed project. One kind of related to affiliate marketing and one totally unrelated, but some learnings within it.
What is the main lesson you took from your startups?
Yeah, so the main lesson the main thing to look out for, not sure if I can give a definitive answer of how to solve this, is like the team that you're working with. But that's saying it after at that point, the reason things didn't work out was because of the team, right? So everything seemed to be okay, but the team wasn't okay. So then that's, I guess, the main thing. Figure out how to make a team that actually wants to do the same things that you do. Because otherwise there's going to be a point where things just fall apart.
So you were running campaigns for a bit over two and a half years, right?
Yeah, 2.5 to 3 years or so.
And now you started your own media project. And I wanted to ask, what waves of potential growth you see for affiliate marketers in terms of how to overgrow affiliate marketing?
That's a very difficult one, because if I knew it, I would probably be doing it and not telling about it.
Yeah, just for those who a bit tired from running campaigns on day-to-day basis.
So there are a lot of affiliate skills that you can use in growing your own startups and businesses. So if you can find someone who has a good software as a service, SaaS business idea or something developed, they could definitely use some performance marketing in their user acquisition plan. So that's one idea. If you think about trackers, even an affiliate marketing tracker, they can use affiliate marketing skills to acquire their users, but you can think even further outside of trackers, which would be, I don't know, it's a bad example now because they're so big, but Adobe, for all their products, you can probably think about a way to create funnels and performance marketing campaigns around them. So if you have someone or you have your own idea to apply your skills there, that's one way. Then, of course, I think media still makes some sense because, we have an affiliate history as well anyway. So although you don't apply it specifically in terms of that 1-point conversion, you still know a lot about how to, or at least if you've been in affiliate marketing, you probably know a lot about copywriting. So that helps with, even if you're not writing sales letter, knowing about copywriting and how to do some appealing articles, that helps a lot as well. So content publishing in general media, that helps.
Is your affiliate marketing experience helping you to build a business?
Yeah, it's helping not in the way that I would have thought though. It's helping because like what we're doing is we are creating content for affiliates mostly. So it helps knowing what affiliates really want to read about. And it's not so helpful when it comes to user acquisition, aside from the fact that you definitely always have this thinking of how much does it cost me to acquire a user or like get a reader in our case, and how much money does that mean? Like how much do you spend for it and how much money would you make for it? Is this a sustainable business or not? But aside from that, it doesn't help that much. I had to learn a lot of new things when it comes to marketing to really try to grow this thing, which is still interesting. Like it's part of the solving problems, learning new things that I wanted to have.
Do you remember your feelings when you hit first $500 a day?
Oh, that was nice. So it was... So I can tell you exactly how it was. I don't know the exact date. That's the one thing that I forgot. But I was running mobile display, and I was running those standard rectangle long banners, right? Mm-hmm. So there was only so much traffic on them, and there was a few good placements, specifically BlackBerry Messenger in Indonesia, right? So I was running on that. And that was usually that went to like 250 to 300 profit. But then I saw that they have another ad format in the exact same app. So what I did was just like adjusted the banner from the rectangle one to a square banner kind of. And you just double the traffic with the same performance, maybe even a bit better. So it was like so close. And then the 500 was just using the same exact thing in a different ad format, and then you double your profit. That was, that was the trick to get over 500. I think that got to like 750 just with that specifically.
Nice one.
And it was pretty sustainable because it was all compliant. So that was the other thing. It lasted for like 6+ months.
Nice. With that kind of
daily profit. Exactly. Just like refreshing the banners and updating the offers if there's a better one that has the same angle.
You're from small town in Romania.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is the average monthly salary now there?
Average monthly. So, okay, I know the average monthly in Romania is like 400 euros, I think, maybe a bit less.
So you were making an average salary.
But for Romania, like in that town, it must be way less. In that town, it must be more like 250 to 300. I cannot imagine that the average in the small town is the same when you include Bucharest and everything like that.
So you were making daily an amount of money. Your parents, for example, would have to work for 2 months.
Yeah, something like that. So pretty ridiculous if you think about it. So.
And how old were you back then?
So that was I was 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. Like turning.
Well, do you think what helped you the most to achieve that result? What kind of skills? What kind of mindset? I'm not even talking about, affiliate marketing itself, but, you were making that amount of money. What helped you? What brought you to that
I think just
result?
being super motivated and hardworking about it. So when I started off affiliate marketing, I worked, I don't want to exaggerate, but so definitely no weekends off. That doesn't apply. Like when I say daily, I mean like Monday to Sunday. But it must have been around 14 hours a day. So it's like, okay, aside from just making sure that you're sleeping enough and getting food and still getting enough like off-screen time, it's all just about going to your computer and then writing through, get banners, landers, what you need, get the offers, talk to your affiliate manager, set up the offers, run the campaigns, test, and just go through that as fast as thorough as you can. So that sort of just super motivated, hardworking mindset, I think that was the main thing. Because I don't think you can really get successful quickly if you spend 2 hours a day. It doesn't make sense.
That's probably the key to success. Just like as simple as that, hardworking, put enough.
Of course, you have to still think you still have to think, okay, I failed this way. I should not try and, you don't have to try the exact same thing. You have to change something. But making sure that you test these things quickly, that helps a lot, I think.
Now, in terms of money, can you remember your most profitable months, the biggest amount of money you have generated within a month with affiliate marketing?
I don't know exactly. Because the thing is, you look a lot at like daily reports if you're up or down.
That's just an approximate number. Was it over $50,000?
Yeah, it was over 50. It's supposed to be around like $100,000. Happened a few times, yeah, in a month.
And do you remember your most profitable day or campaign?
So
most successful day, let's say.
It was something. Well, I remember it. I don't know the exact date again, but I remember the situation that happened. So I think it was around 7,500 to 8,000 profit. But I remember that it happened that we were running. So we started adding CPA traffic. So we were only paying for conversion.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it went so well that I was desperate to deposit more money. And you have bank wires that take a while, and then credit card limits. So it's like campaign is doing really well, and then how do you put more money on the platform now? Because so a few thousand a day, this lasts us however long. And then it's like at the end of the day, you're looking and it's gone and it's profitable. How do you put more money in?
Was it only display traffic or?
It was pop traffic then.
Pop traffic. And what kind of offers?
It was both sweeps and mobile apps. So it's like, because for the full thing, we never had like one offer, one campaign running. It was always, okay, all the offers in this, in all the, like testing everything that you could test. And then what is profitable, put more money as much as you can. Again,
in terms of money, what kind of person you are, saving, spending, or investing? How do you handle your money?
Well, it depends what you say. Probably investing, but not like investing in stocks or anything. I think you need a lot to really for that to make sense. Just like reinvesting in the business, trying out new things.
Vienna is known for being kind of a capital of European culture. And what about you? Do you visit all these famous museums, theaters, opera houses, and so on?
No, not much at all. So I've been to a couple of museums only, and then never been to the opera. And never. In general, like I would say, just like being pretty blunt, quite ignorant when it comes to art and stuff. Like nothing against people who like it and stuff. It just never was something that attracted me so much. What I do enjoy about Vienna and its overall culture, like it's just, the buildings do look really nice, and
architecture.
Yeah, the architecture part of things. Yeah, that's the architecture part I quite enjoy. But then for that, you don't have to, go into the buildings and everything. It's enjoying from outside on a terrace, having a coffee or something.
Then what do you like to do with your free time?
I generally don't split my free time and work time that much. So the good thing about being just like responsible for myself, not having to take care of a family or anything, is that I can still focus a lot on the work side of things, which I still enjoy. Like it doesn't feel like work per se, like others think about it. So my free time in general is still spent on maybe like reading books or something. I do enjoy traveling here and there, but I don't travel very often, maybe a few times a year. So that's kind of like my free time is spent on meeting new people that are still relevant to business with traveling, and then relaxing in the city, meeting some people, that kind of thing, hanging out. Nothing that has to do with just completely disconnecting myself.
How many hours do you normally spend working?
It's a bit less than before, but I still would say it's more or less still like a full-time job, in the sense that it goes towards 40 plus hours a week that I spend really focused on what we're doing now. But like I said, it's a difference between work when you're thinking, oh, it feels like work, I cannot wait to end it. But for me, it's like really motivating. Like I want to spend time on that. It's like if people try to say, hey, let's do something else, I'm like, but I enjoy this more. So it's like, it is work, it's productive, but it doesn't feel like a burden in any ways.
Now I wanted to focus on your existing project, wtaff. I guess that you are dedicating 100% of your time now to develop it. What is wtaff?
So I would call it a daily briefing of everything that's going on in affiliate marketing, digital marketing, and like relevant industries that just gets delivered over email in the form of a newsletter. That's the simplest way I could describe it.
What is your role in wtaff? What you are responsible for?
So that changed a lot in the last 4 months, because I would like even less than 4 months. But basically, I started it with the writing and building out everything else that had to be built out with it. So you can just, it's very similar to when I started affiliate marketing. I was doing everything more or less. Then starting to get some help from people who were also on the team when it comes to design and running campaigns and stuff like that, transitioning into this. And now I'm really, as you would call it, I don't know, CEO, manager, whatever, just overlooking the main things that are going on and deciding on very strategic things. Still quite involved in our overall growth part of things. So when it comes to marketing and advertising, getting subscribers, that sort of things, I'm still probably the main responsible, but I do much less of the writing and curating content and stuff like that.
And how many people actually write the content?
2 people write the content right now.
On a regular basis?
Yeah.
All right.
Even today, so.
Did you start that project on your own or with, again,
no, we just
partner?
Continued it with the same partner. So
you have been working with the same partner for a long time?
Since I moved to Vienna. So aside from the person that actually said that burnt out, wants to do other things and doesn't fit the team anymore, aside from that, like same people that I worked with since I moved to Vienna, and I would still keep it the same.
Are you friends, partners, or both?
I would say both. So we known each other before working together a little bit, and then we come from the same sort of mindset since we all played poker. So we know how each other thinks, we know our strengths, weaknesses, and we get along. Like we have the same overall business view. So of course that's not beneficial in some ways, because then if you think about the big picture, everyone sees the same thing. But at the same time, for the details within the business, that it's okay, because you never have like these discussions of going in a total different direction. You always say like, well, how do we go in that direction? Because that's where we're going, right? And it's like, yeah, right.
So before you started affiliate marketing, you used to play poker, right?
Well, before even starting any startup. So poker was before I started any business. That was a lot of years ago. I forgot how many now. 7 years ago or so.
Yeah. 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And how long did it last?
Only around 2 years. So yeah, it was kind of a decision, try to get better at it, or start a real business and try to do business and stuff.
Did your experience with poker help you to succeed in affiliate marketing somehow?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think poker is the best overall teacher when it comes to life and business in general, if you would think about it strictly from like game theory perspective. So there are luck elements involved, which is just as in life, like things can happen even if you do everything right, you can still fail. Then there's money management behind it. It's like the main reason people don't succeed is because they don't manage their money, usually when they are tilted. So when
in any industry, I guess.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. Like they're not careful with their money, and they're not doing their best when it comes to like their mindset. They get too annoyed about things and they don't make the correct decisions, and then they lose. And that's kind of that poker is a pretty good game to learn how to control your emotions and manage your money, understand human psychology, and all these sort of things.
Base your decisions on numbers rather than emotions.
Yeah. So that's where poker helped a lot, I would say.
How wtaff was invested? Again, your own money?
So it was just the company money.
All right, company
money. We didn't have to raise any outside money or anything. We had enough to start this and try it out. That was not
And what were expenses?
It's not that expensive to try it out. It's just, if you think about it, you need an email service provider, which is almost free if you don't have many subscribers, but then it's under 200 a month for a few thousand subscribers. So in the part where you're just testing the product, you need a few hundred a month for that. Web hosting for a landing page. Let's say you have 250 static costs for services. and then marketing, promoting, like getting traffic to your
And
newsletter,
yes,
and that's the
most
expense. And then you have to
right.
decide how much do you want to spend. Do you want to spend, and how much you can spend, right? Because it doesn't make sense to spend 500 a day if you get 2 subscribers. It doesn't help if you get 2 extra readers for that price. So there's not a big expense. It was probably within, like per month, if you average it out, probably within the $2,000 a month.
And salaries?
Well, that's a different story.
For
Like
the
if
employees,
you,
no?
if you,
for auditors?
since it was just me working, that it doesn't,
All right.
it doesn't matter at the beginning. I would say even if you add employees, well, if you add employees, it really depends. Because if you want to add people who are actually like willing to work with you and stuff, then you definitely go towards 5,000 plus per month expenses. But at least with this whole project, my feeling was that you cannot outsource the beginning of a project. So
in the beginning, you were writing all the content yourself.
90%, I would say. Oh, so people who like were doing media buying, transitioning to writing, super helpful as well. But it was me like guiding the whole content part of things. And I was, and I'm still the one that explained to the new writers what's the voice, what's the messaging that we want to send out, what we put in, what we don't put in. So yeah.
And are you profitable already, or are you still investing?
Yeah, I would say slightly profitable overall per month. It's been the same across the last few months, so that's good. The idea is to still focus and reinvest any sort of profit in the growth side of things. So it's not like we're not done kind of thing, you know.
So I presume that you invest mostly on marketing.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Really. How do you attract traffic?
We're working a lot, or like what we're trying to do is a lot of influencer marketing recommendations, things like that. So making sure that we get good exposure when it comes to people who have relevant audiences already and they connect with them. If they like our product, would they recommend us to their audience? That's the main thing. Standard influencer marketing. That's one of the things that I've learned that it's very different to affiliate marketing, but it's very powerful when done right.
How big is your mailing list now?
So right now we're at 4,500 active subscribers. So yeah.
And as for your audience, who are those people who read the newsletters?
Well, there's a lot of affiliates. Around half of the people who read are active affiliates, or they would name themselves affiliates. Then we do appeal to quite a few e-commerce entrepreneurs, so people who build their own e-commerce stores. That's around 15%. This is like a self-reported survey that we ran with the community. And then the rest is companies within the industry. Kind of that's the split. And affiliate networks, traffic sources, etc.
What people are mostly interested in? What kind of topics?
So Facebook is the one that's very interesting for everyone. Then e-commerce is also very interesting. So even affiliates want to know about e-commerce. This is one of the reasons why I said e-commerce, affiliate marketing e-commerce will probably be something to look out for in 2019. But then aside from that, they're interested in search, sweeps, email marketing. Nutra as well is something that's pretty big. So those are overall the main things that our audience is interested in.
I read that in your recent post that open rate is well above 40%.
Yeah.
Which is, quite decent number.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you about click to open rate. Do people click on the links in your newsletters? So
click to open rate is something that I don't follow so much. I follow like the actual click-through rate, so the ones total from the list, because those are two different numbers. Mm-hmm. Like click to open is clicks out of people who opened it only. Mm-hmm. And that can be skewed because, for example, if you have a 10% open rate, you can have a high click to open rate, but it doesn't really mean a lot of people click it. So what we have like click-through rate out of the total list, unique clicks is around 8% or so on average, but it varies quite a bit for two reasons. Main reason it actually varies is because our purpose most often is not to send people out of the newsletter.
Aside from everything
so aside from the sponsored content, we don't want people necessarily to go out of the newsletter, because the whole point is like you can read through it and then get the summary of the day for you. So when we don't have, I don't know, some sort of report or screenshots that they would go out to, the click-through rate drops towards like 5. And then when we have like, look, this is really important, you should check it out. This is like a massive report that's interesting. This is a screenshot of an ad that's, I don't know, super revolutionary, and you have to go to the screenshot, then it can go like 15% even.
And as for unsubscribe rate, do you see many people unsubscribing?
Not so many. Definitely, it goes a bit, we have kind of a cycle, let's call it. So if we don't do any sort of marketing and promotion with other influencers to get like a boost of subscribers coming in more, then we have around 0.05, maybe a bit less unsubscribe rate. So that's like 1-2 per email, and we send it daily.
Many business owners and executives of all kind are watching our interviews, and I'm pretty sure that they are quite interested to know how much is that to advertise in your newsletters. Do you have a fixed price, or it might vary? Or
the way we do it is we have minimum 3 emails, and then from there work out a messaging through those 3 emails, because it's not a one-shot wonder thing with.
So minimum is 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how much would be to advertise 3 minimum?
So if you would do it right now, like what day is it today? 16th January. Yeah. So right now it would be $2,400 for the 3 emails. We write the content, and you just consult you. Like you tell us, okay, what do you have in mind for your company? What are your unique selling propositions? Our team writes the content.
And lastly, what are your plans? What goals have you set for 2019?
Main goal would be to hit that high number or like the highest number that I think is possible for affiliate marketing readers, so around 10K. But that really revolves, like it's all on us, because if people like what we do, it's only a matter of time. So I have more of a goal of making sure that the content stays appealing to everyone and current, because we've gotten some feedback. Yes, it's great, but this thing you're not doing quite so well, and we got that consistently. Specifically, like you're doing too much Facebook stuff, and it's not relevant for everyone. And like I get that, and we understood that, but it took us a few weeks to make that change, to make it broader.
You know, that is kind of tradition already, that in the end of every interview we have competition with some great prizes. This time our friends from Binom Tracker decided to provide us 1 year subscription as a prize.
One whole year?
Yeah, 1 whole year for
free.
Quite
a nice prize.
It is. And I'm just thinking about that competition. So if you want to have that annual subscription to Binom Tracker worth over $800 absolutely for free, comment on this video. Let us know your ideas on which company involved in affiliate marketing you would like us to interview. Elaborate on your choice. Tell us why exactly you are interested in this company. The best comment will be chosen, and the author will receive the prize. Manuel, thank you very much for having me here in your place. That has been very interesting conversation for me.
Thanks for coming. It was a pleasure.
Bye now. Don't forget to subscribe to
ring
the
those
channel.
bells.
Yeah, ring those bells, and see you next time.